Eat Your Crow segment. So we're going to eat our crow on certain players that can be good this season. And then a player that we can do the shot call on that we called on and write about, and probably David player became better than we thought. So I'm going to eat my massive crow. And Kid, you can think of a guy that you thought was going to be good this year, but as we're going, you can look for a player. But a player that I thought would be a good player this year, that I took probably the boldest take on, was DSJ, and I'm going to eat my crow. I thought he was going to be a top 100 player this year, and I got a lot. I got hit hard with crazy messages. I understand. I'm going to eat my crow. I do apologize. Obviously, in how am I trying to say this? In the Knicks, New York Knicks, we know how they orchestrate their team there. They're a wasteland team. The coaching, the management is poor right there. And Fizdale up and he got fired, whatever. But it still seems like they're still running the same type of rotations there. We got Taj Mahal, what LT was says, Taj Gibson's still starting. Don't know why, but they must see something that we don't see. But anyways, getting back at the point here, although, and this is how I'm going to try to prepare myself to come off the bench and start, still that, to help myself after saying he could give you top 100 production here. Check this out. Mitch Robinson, this is where my backup opportunity, this is how I'm going to repair myself. A lot of people was on the echo on high trade on Mitch Robinson. They mentioned he was going to be a back-end first round, early second round value player. I'm just like, no way. There's no way. I'm going to pay a premium on him with that high block rate. I love players that give you the block rates, and I know Lewis likes those Kong Skull Island guys, the Donkey Kong players, but there's some Kong Skull Island players that will crack the bed, and he had 10 all over his face, and I was concerned. It was all in my gut. As Lewis would have it in his gut. It resided in me that my gut feeling was saying, I'm all out on Mitch Robinson. And lo and behold, this is what happened this year. He did not give you that back-end first-round value. He did not give you that early second-round value. But not only that, he's coming off the bench, right? So the New York Knicks, what are you doing? What are you doing? You're not starting him. I don't get it. Not only that, but you're not giving Dennis Smith any minutes at all. Now, Dennis Smith, he just really doesn't look good, right? So I'll eat my from that. But the thing is, what I'm also going to try to save my life on in this, you didn't pay a premium on Dennis Smith Jr. You got him in the later rounds. He was a flyer in redraft points format, so it's not going to hurt you that bad. Versus Mitch Robinson that you paid a high premium on, so you're feeling pretty bad about that, right? So that's just something that you have to take into consideration. When it comes to first bold takes, I will say that DSJ, there was mention I heard around the industry that he might be out of the NBA or NBA league. That's rough to hear that. So I will eat my crow, and I will mention that anytime. The difference between me and us or other industries, they don't admit sometimes that they're wrong, right? And I'm going to man up, as LT would say, man up, take my shot, and just, eat my crow in there. Do I think he could be a better player? It may not be in New York. It has to be potentially somewhere else. And Jacob had mentioned Elfrid Payton seems like the better guard there, and he's right? He's definitely looking better there as the assist player. And LT knows I like Elfrid Payton too, honestly.
Yeah.
But it's just an upside that I think DSJ can have, just not in New York. Maybe in a different limelight of scheme of a different place, maybe he gets the opportunity. Because if he gets 28 minutes somewhere else, I don't care if he comes off the bench. He can give you some type of stats somewhere else. But that's where I stand. But my shot call this year, obviously, was Jonathan Isaac. And then a massive jump shot. Honestly, he's faded this year. But I believe I was probably one of the first to talk about was Kendrick Nunn. Way before the season started. Now, I know he's faded this year. I get it. Miami Heat is so, good. But I kept saying before I started this podcast with the guys here that if you give this guy an opportunity as a rookie, he has something that he can produce. Now his minutes is reduced. He has something good, and honestly, he's a droppable candidate in redrafting points leagues. I get it, but if you're in a very deep dynasty format, you got him for the cheapest of the cheapest. You're feeling pretty good with what production you're getting. He's not giving you that top 75 value that he was earlier this season. Maybe the 150 to 160 range in a deep dynasty format. You got to appreciate and accept that. Another player. I could talk about other players I, talked about, but I'm not going to hog the ball per se or ISO it too much. So I'll pass you the ball there, White Knight, on a player that you eat your crow on.
Yeah, absolutely, brother. So, I touched up on him earlier,
But I'd say it again, Lori Markin. I was gushing over him at the beginning of the year. So much so that I was, I was being asked by loyal listeners if I was a Bulls fan. Like they just assumed I liked the Bulls. Like, no, I don't. I don't hate them, but I don't like them. I just love Lori. I love his shooting touch. I love his game. His shooting touch reminds me of Dirk. So like I just, his game can translate well, and so that he can last for like 15 plus years if he can get that shooting touch down. Exactly, LT. I still am a firm believer. I know we're not playing that game. He hasn't done well this because he's hurt.
His opinion don't
I'm
count,
just joking, man.
His opinion. I'm gonna roast him in a minute, anyways.
You do. You go ahead.
No. Like, okay, so I am going to eat my crow on him. He hasn't performed. He's been hurt all year. If you drafted him in like the 5th or 6th round, you're hurting. Hopefully he does come back in March, but that's always that's always a risky proposition for someone who's been hurt all year to expect him to come back later. If the Bulls get even more down and down in the standings, he's going to look even more like I'm going to eat some more crow because he's not even going to salvage your season, But there is one player that I was super high on this year that no one really was talking about, and we had just talked about him, and that was Dylan Brooks. He had a brilliant rookie year when he was with Mike Conley and Mark Gasol and Tony Allen. He had a great year, and then he missed his whole second. So it's when those players get hurt is when you have to buy low. He was hurt all year, so he was coming back as the veteran, whereas he was like the youngest guy on the team 2 years back. Now he comes back as one of the oldest guys because they had Ja Morant, Jaren Jackson Jr. Like it was a whole different makeup. He was coming back as the veteran who played well in his rookie year. It all just lined up to where he was going to see some opportunity, and he has performed. I mean, like he has like some off games, but he's only 23. So I really like Brooks, but I will say back that I do need to eat my crow on Lauri Markkanen, unfortunately.
Nice. LT, pass you the ball there. You got crow in your hands.
I do have crow, and I wanted to formally apologize to G. Hay. G. Hay, we've had a beautiful past with each other, and I took you for granted this year. Okay, took you for granted. Didn't think you had it in you. Thought my sage eye. I may have been looking at.
You judged him.
I may have been looking at maybe you were looking at your feet like Mike Guy was in the anime of Naruto. Maybe you were looking at your feet and I couldn't read you well. But you've done great this year. You had a little bit of you did have a little bit of an injury, and I thought, yes, I'm right. But he came back.
He went John Wick on you, man.
Yeah, he did. He came back. Man, me and G. Hay have a lot in common. We used the same.
People didn't know I had a feeling that he was going to be back. You were like, I'm not sure if he was back or not. But after a while, and kept on watching his games, I'm thinking he's back.
Understood. You were right, right? If that's what you want to hear, right?
Yeah,
you were right.
Let me.
He's been killing it. And one of the bigger issues I had with that team is that there's so many alphas on that team, and he's still producing at a high clip. And that's so. With that being said, I do have to eat my crow on him, Mr. League of Legends himself. That was my guy, right? League of Legends.
I mean, there was just so much talk about.
That's my guy.
The scares. I don't think he'll ever be back the same. And I was like, nah, man. I just have a feeling this is his year. The gut comes through.
Yeah, it did.
I eat my crow on G. Hay. I'll never, that was my guy, and I turned my back on him. Hopefully, he can forgive me. I hope he can forgive me, and maybe I can pick you up next year, G. Hay.
Oh no, he's signed. He's signed with me in Dynasty.
Okay, well,
You won't see him. You won't see him in our league together.
And redraft.
Hey, you will never see him. I want to look you in the face and say you will never see him again in our league.
Thanks, Bane. And for the guys that I were good right on. There's a couple guys I was right on, but the main guy that I'm actually happy that I picked up, he was a later round pick for me, and he's been producing is Will Barton. Love what Will Barton's been doing this year.
Basic
I
name.
literally picked him up in like 3 leagues as one of my late flyers. I just saw opportunity. He won that job. I forget the guy's name. I don't think it's Monte. I forget who he won the job over him anyways. And,
Aimlessly or Torrey Craig?
Yeah, Torrey Craig. I think it's Torrey Craig. He beat Torrey Craig out for that starting gig. And you guys remember, Will Barton's known for a 6-man role. He usually always comes off the bench. And now he's getting the opportunity to start for a very good Nuggets team. And he's been producing. So, again, he's not like a world beater or anything, but for a back of the bench guy, or like we like to call Elmer's, that glue guy on your team, he's been killing it. He's actually been outperforming some of my higher picks that I've had just because he's stayed primarily pretty healthy, and he just keeps producing at a pretty good clip. So that's my guy that I was actually right on for my drafts, and I'm happy about. Lewis, the mask. Can you breathe in that? Are you there?
I'm here, man. You already know, man. If you don't know, now you know.
Now you
Ninja. And no, I'm just joking. But the player that I'm gonna be eating my crow on, of course, is oh Danny boy. The pipes are calling Danny Green. Wow. I thought he would be doing a lot better than what he what they call them, the DCPs or man, he's drinking.
That sounds good. Go with it.
Yeah,
man.
DCPs. Yeah, we'll just roll with it. I just know my man.
You down with DCP? Yeah,
you know me exactly. Yeah, those have been horrible, man. It's been a roller coaster ride, man. There were matches that I needed him, and he was sitting out. He's got lower back stiffness. I'm like, I thought you were young. What's going on? I like young enough to not be getting hit with these injuries. Hey, he still had it, man. He still had it. I don't care. But, I don't know what happened, man. And then, Golden State gets hit with all these injuries. I was like, oh, yeah, I'm picking him up. He's going to eat like never before. And he just... yeah.
You're talking about Draymond Green.
Yeah. I said my bad.
You said Danny
I know.
Green.
Oh, yeah, Danny Green. My bad.
That's why I was like,
how's Danny Green? Exactly. I don't know what I was thinking.
Like,
Draymond.
why were you?
I don't even have Danny Green.
I was
That's funny.
Why are you believing in Danny Green to begin?
That's on me.
Why are you?
Hey.
I was so confused.
My bad. Draymond Green. That's
okay,
funny.
perfect.
Yeah. All right.
The shark himself.
Yeah,
Draymond,
man. Draymond, what happened, bro? I don't understand.
I got catfished by him too, man. Don't worry.
He got me good, boy. I was like, oh man, look at all these with what's it called? Them shipping Durant out, and then the injury on top of that with
Makes sense.
I'm like, man, this dude's gonna take over and eat. He has to, and I don't even know what to say, man. I'm at a loss for words. Help me find the words, Starks. Help me find the words.
I got a word for you. I'm gonna get real technical here because people like technicality for some odd reason.
Yeah,
you're
go ahead. You're
gonna blast me.
I'm gonna go ahead and throw you the oop, man.
It's fine. Hey, Lewis, and you're gonna probably block my hoop after you throw me the oop, but you should have known this was coming. You probably didn't because his usage rate, what you said made sense because KD left. And you thought he was going to do the massive production, but Draymond Green's game is not usage rate. He doesn't score, so unfortunately that's what it is. And you could just, smack me later on that. But I get what you're saying, though, Lewis, for sure. But let me help you out there. Actually, no, I want to see what player you're going to say because I got something to juice the orange to help you out even more on this situation. So who's actually your shot call player this year off of the Draymond Green miss there?
The player that I think that I did the best on grabbing, you mean?
Yeah.
I believe it was, I don't know, tough. I would say it was G. Hay. Had to be G. Hay in my opinion, because everyone was selling him short, man.
Yeah, that's
Everyone
true.
was talking like I got him late. I don't know if I got him like fifth or sixth round, something like that. But unless you see someone else.
But yeah, let me steal the ball and juice the orange for you because a lot of people don't know this. Well, actually, they do. New Life does, but a lot of listeners don't know, or maybe they do or they don't. But you were the first person to talk about graham crackers, Devontae Graham.
Oh yeah. Oh, see, I was thinking about Dynasty. I didn't get graham crackers at Dynasty, but I got them in our.
I know you didn't. You didn't. You would have loved to get. I'm sure you would have loved to get them.
Man.
I just remember you messaging me like, "Hey man, hey Starks, you see who I got?" I was like, "Okay." Like I'm not impressed. It was one game.
Oh yeah, graham crackers. Oh yeah.
So you did really well in that aspect. Unfortunately, yeah, you wish you would have had him in a dynasty format. But Devontae Graham, as they know, like I'm juicing the orange every once in a while on him. To a point that I said I would trade Dippo for him, and if I can get a draft pick in return, I would do that.
I got him from the waiver wire too, bro.
Yeah, you got him from the waiver. That's how
I would have honestly. I usually when I'm drafting, I draft the same player in the same league. So if us been in both leagues, I went to go check to see if he was available in Dynasty the same day too, and somebody had actually drafted him in Dynasty.
Yeah.
I was.
Yeah,
but I was still excited to have him in the redraft league.
Trade Home Depot.
Yeah, man, I think I would trade Home Depot for him, man. I can probably get a pick and return in a dynasty format too, and I would try to as well.
Hornets, man.
I know who he is, man. I know who he is. I'm just saying that's Starks, man. That's Dippo, man.
You know how much I love
They went to
Dippo.
college with, man. Him and Ola Dippo went to college with each other, man.
Yeah.
You know.
But I don't think they're ever going to run him crazy like how they used to, man. I don't think they're going to run him like they did. A fear of injury.
We'll see.
You know?
We'll see next year. Not this year, but we'll see next year. We'll see how they
What do you think?
Dippo
White Knight? You think they'll run Dippo ever like they did? You know, a fear of injuring him again.
Definitely not for the rest of the year, but like LT said, I think they will put the kid gloves off next year if he shows well in the offseason.
I think next year the Pacers are going to be a top 4 Eastern team.
Oh, that's funny, man. Danny Green. Well, he's probably in the way.
Well, that's why I was looking.
Hey, you took
that's
it
why
beyond.
my face was like that, right? I'm like,
Danny Green.
Danny Green. Why were you believing in him?
No,
Makes sense with the whole back situation. You were talking about how, like, you know, like he's young, he shouldn't have some back issues. I was like, Danny Green's like,
no, Danny Green. No.
But yeah, Draymond Green, man.
Hey, man, hooked on phonics, man.
Hey man, it
Thanks,
works over here. Hey kid, man, do you have a person you're eating your crow on this year?
Yeah, I'm eating my crow on RJ Barrett this year.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
RJ, man.
I remember LT mentioning it.
Oh yeah.
I'm a master's brother.
See, they were on my neck about it. So in the points league, I drafted RJ Barrett round 3.
Oh.
And I'm kind of eating my crow like really bad on that.
Kind of.
Yeah.
It was sweet though, the kid, because we were making fun of it, right? And then RJ Barrett was like killing it for like a couple of weeks. We were like, the kid, he's Nostradamus, man. He saw something coming that we didn't see coming. And then,
hey, my gut told me it was a lie. I didn't believe kid.
Nah, we were like, man, we shouldn't have been, man. RJ, he looking good, man. Maybe, and then it just Knicks. I think it's the Knicks, man. To be honest with you, man, that organization needs to get it together, man.
But
Jeez.
I don't know, LT, because RJ Barrett is getting the minutes. He's just still torpedoing, man.
It's true.
I know you try to save the kid, but I
was trying to be somewhat nice, but yeah.
I just dropped this morning.
See ya.
I got Melo.
Oh, there you go.
Right now, in you, as we were talking, you're like, yeah, I got it.
Hey, did y'all see Melo put Zion in
Yes.
I can't believe man.
No dribble, no problem.
No dribble, no problem.
God.
Why is he still a monster for that? Remember in 2K when he had like what is that triple threat? What was that, the triple threat? Yeah, why is he like? I remember in 2K, his triple threat was like 99 or something stupid like that. From that, yeah, it was like crazy from that position where he can like turn around and shit. Man, it's so stupid. It's like realistic.
Yeah, I couldn't stand when you used to do that on me all the time, and I couldn't stop that trash.
I know. Anyway, what about a player you were that worked out for you, the kid?
Actually, in a Dynasty league I was in. Oh, the 20-man Dynasty league I'm in with Starks and White Knight.
Actually, you're with everybody. I think we're all in that league.
Yeah, we're all in there. I'm in there now. It's a bonus.
Okay, we're all in it.
What's the bonus? It's a bonus.
Shut up.
I ended up drafting Rashawn Holmes.
Holmes on Holmes.
He was looking good, brother.
I believed in him from the start because I just knew he would take over Dwayne Dedmon's place.
Oh, okay.
I just figured.
Oof.
That's a good
Nice,
call
that's a
out,
great-
man.
That's a great pick.
Yeah.
Dwayne Dead Man Wonderland. Guess what? I picked him up.
I'll go ahead and say it's been a little harder to be out there in the waiver wire with the kid. Actually, Starks is already a great white out there eating everything up, man. It's getting hard out there, man. Thus the mask.
Homes on
The mask.
homes, building houses for you, man. That's pretty. That's nice.
Wandering the wastelands, man. Looking for players.
All right,
Speak-
so
speak-
this.
Oh, no, go ahead.
So we're gonna get to the next segment. This one is gonna be out of the blue segment. Lewis, run the offense. What you got?
Oh, I got something for you, man. I just want to bring up, man. We'll call this. I actually don't even know what to call it, man. I just want to know, about JaVale McGee versus what's his name? Man.
Dwight Howard.
Yeah, Dwight Howard, man. We were talking about that in the
Well.
beginning of the year, man. Any insight or thought, process?
Yeah.
On that, man.
Are any of them in the top 100?
It doesn't matter. Hey,
So it doesn't matter.
Hey, I
I just want to know. I just want to know. Are any of them in the top 100?
Hey, man, you said that
At least-
Dwight was going to be worse than JaVale.
At least one of them. I mean, it's like garbage and throw up are right next to each other. Which one would you rather have? Probably.
Hey, man.
Christ, Starks.
Hey, man,
What's
14
that?
points, 15
He was
rebounds.
ready.
That's not throw up. Man.
Rocks for rocks.
Hey, listen. Yeah, exactly. Like, huh? Would you rather have this rock or this pebble? How about neither? Exactly.
Hey, man. Hey, the
Lewis
fans
Leonard,
need to know. Hey, man, the fans already know about the superstars, but they need to know about
No one
who to
cares.
grab in
No one
the
cares
lower.
No one
tiers.
cares about Superman coming out with the cape.
Go ahead.
That was that was good, Lewis. So let's go ahead and get to the next segment. Actually, I'm gonna put you on the spot. This one's an interesting one. This is called 24 shot clock violation. In this segment, there's going to be 24 questions for each individual here. Lewis, who would like to take the 24 shot clock violation? Who wants to be the first to actually step up versus me passing the ball to him?
Oh, my mask is broken. I got to phase out.
I'll do it.
Here we go.
No, I'm just messing.
I can do it, Starks. I can
Okay,
go
go
first.
ahead, LT. All right, so again, it's 24 questions. Try to answer it without thinking too much, but answer it, pretty accurately the best way possible, okay?
Absolutely.
So the shot clock is on 24 questions. Best movie and why?
Best movie is going to be, oh, wow. It's going to be The Matrix. That just off the top of my head. For me,
Why?
The Matrix, that first Matrix movie, I know. It was amazing for me. It's the first movie that popped into my head. So, yeah, there we go.
Okay. All right, awesome. Worst moment in life?
Worst moment in life. I actually was, listeners don't know, I'm trying to become a firefighter. I actually failed my firefighter test on a mental issue where I took my vest off. And so, yeah, that was heartbreaking to me because I had trained for like 6 months. So, yeah.
Okay. Best moment.
But
Go
I
ahead,
passed
bro.
it recently.
No,
I was going to
go
say
ahead.
I've passed it recently, though. So,
Yes,
got it
that's
done.
awesome. That's awesome to hear. Best moment in life, brother.
absolutely. It's a tie between getting married to my beautiful wife and having my beautiful son. Absolutely.
Awesome.
That sounds beautiful.
NBA player you wish you could meet. I guess that should be easy, right?
Oh, yeah, that's easy. Dame Dollar. absolutely 150%. I would go over all the verses with him. We would have a good time.
Best player in the next 3 years in fantasy.
Giannis.
Nice. What's your favorite show, LT?
My favorite show? It's gonna be it's gonna be an anime. So for your listeners, I watch anime, Japanese cartoons. It's gonna be Naruto. Hands down.
No, cartoon. That's one. So it's Naruto. So go back to show. If you had to pick a show,
it would be Friends. I'll be there for you.
Is this almost
When the rain starts to come.
There we go.
Oh,
Okay.
no, White Knight.
I heard they're coming back.
They are HBO.
Best video game of all time, LT.
Woo! It's gonna have to be Zelda, Ocarina of Time.
No.
Ooh, classic.
No.
Let's go.
No.
This is just off the top of my head, right? So I'm just
Exactly. They got to be quick.
Oh, no, go ahead, man.
He's doing
How much
you're
time
doing
we have
good, LT.
left?
No, he's doing good. There's no time, but just answer it pretty quick. He's doing well.
Okay.
Worst fantasy player.
Luis Scola. No, I'm just kidding.
Hey, for you listeners, we got to go ice on this real quick. Go ahead, LT. Tell them something about
So
else is there, brother.
back in my prime fantasy years, you know how in basketball they have prime years. I had my prime years in fantasy. I used to like throw out trades to these guys. I never wanted him. He produced enough where you just needed him on your squad, but I would always make them take Luis Scola with any trade. Any trade that I offered, you had to take Luis Scola off my hands.
Yeah.
You had to. No choices,
cool.
no answers. A couple of those trades, they accepted. They had to take Luis Scola, and then they would always get mad at me because they'd be like, "Man, this dude is awful." I'm like, "Hey, man, it's part of the trades, man. You gotta take him. Gotta take my dead weight with you." It was off. It was awesome.
Love it.
What's your fantasy basketball Yahoo rating there, LT?
It is a bronze, I believe. Right? I'm a bronze, right?
Yeah, that sounds right.
I'm a bronze tier.
Why? All right, another question. Why is it so low?
It's so low because there's a couple. Are these the actual questions?
Oh, these are actual questions.
Yeah, man, you take that. You take it.
Why is it so?
There's a couple years where I may or may not have put on tank tops, which is a phrase meaning that we try in a couple of our leagues. We did like carryover, like one keeper leagues. And so sometimes you have to get the tanks on and get ready for the next year, and that bombed some of my score.
Nice. What's your favorite food, man?
Macaroni and cheese, hands down.
Nice. Why is God good to you, man?
Man, God has saved me from so many different circumstances, situations. He's been my best friend throughout it all, and I couldn't have done it without him.
Awesome. If you were a Marvel character, who would you be?
Ant-Man.
Yo, Ray, you're toast. It would be Spider-Man.
Nice. Let's see here. Your favorite fantasy player we know, but you can say it anyway.
Oh yeah, it's definitely Brandon. No, I'm just kidding. It's Damian Lillard for sure. I was able to get him in 2 leagues this year, which is rare. So it's been fun.
All right, what's your outside of Damian Lillard? Who's your favorite fantasy player in the past?
Ooh, I'm gonna have to go. Wow, I'm gonna have to go with Rudy Gay.
Not the truth.
That's solid.
No,
That's solid.
I have to go with Rudy Gay. I used to get him every year.
I thought it was the truth with you. Oh, man.
Oh, Paul Pierce?
Yeah.
Man, I had him that 1 year. He was good to me that 1 year that I beat Starks. But like,
oh, really?
Yeah. He was the truth for me then. But no, Rudy Gay for sure. I had him like every year. I rocked with Rudy.
Have you won a fantasy championship before?
I have definitely. I've won 2.
Yep, that's the next question. How many? 2? Cool. All right. On a scale,
I have a question on one of those. Was it one of those an asterisk?
No.
All right. Next question.
I'm sorry.
Next question.
No.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you prepare before a draft?
9.
What goes into your studying and style of play when it comes to fantasy?
Oh man, I'm a big proponent of looking into clippings. So I look at a lot of clippings, a lot of journals. I look at what you want to look at what those specific cities are writing about those players before the draft. I'm a big draft player, so I want to see who has the potential to be strong that year, and that's my style. And then I kind of get all that information accumulated, and that way I can go any way without the draft. I don't have one set way. And you can, that's how I do it, and then kind of make changes from there across the year in the waiver wire.
Nice. And you've talked about this a little bit earlier. When you start losing bad in fantasy, do you tank?
Sometimes you gotta put your hard hat on. Get into the what is it, the King of Tanks? You know that game where you gotta get in the tank and then build it up.
I don't know about that.
Yeah. Well,
I play good games.
Hey man, tank tops. Hey, sometimes you got to throw on the tank tops and go to the beach, man.
Awesome. Is tanking bad?
Tanking is not ideal. No, it shouldn't be done, but sometimes it's necessary.
All right. What's a championship mean to you in fantasy?
Ooh, it means you were the greatest. It means you put in the work, and everybody else that played just wasn't good enough.
Awesome. Last question. Look at me in the camera if you could.
Yeah, I want to know this too.
LT.
Yeah.
Are you a closer?
I'm a starting pitcher. My closing needs work.
Pretty good. That's pretty good.
I'm ready.
You ready, Lewis? Is that what you said? You ready for the 24? You did well. You did well on the LT, by the way.
Thanks, man.
I'm ready.
Very well, brother.
All right, Lewis, you ready?
Yeah, put me in a driver's seat. I'm ready for the roller coaster.
Awesome.
You can say.
All right, Lewis, best movie and why?
Best movie? I'd have to say The Labyrinth with David Bowie in it. Why? Because he's a genius. And he looked great dancing in those pants.
Nice.
Oh, my goodness.
That's the shit.
Woo, worst moment in your life, Lewis?
Worst moment. Probably when I gave away Cousins to Abe. Giving away Cousins to Abe. When I made that trade, when I did that trade, man, I couldn't. I wanted to hop in a time machine and go back in time and fix that, man. It was terrible. He ripped me off really good.
What's the best moment in your life, man?
Best moment in my life? Man, that's tough, man. A lot of good moments, man.
You met me.
I'd say best moment of my life. I don't know if I can give an answer for that one, man. There's too many good moments.
We'll pass and we'll get back to it.
Okay.
NBA player you wish you'd meet.
Ray Allen.
All right.
Best player in the next 3 years in fantasy basketball.
Ray Allen. No. Best fantasy player. I hate this. Still LTs. It might be Alphabet Soup.
Okay. What's your favorite show, Lewis?
Favorite show probably had to be Suits, man.
Nice.
Perfect. What's your favorite cartoon, Lewis?
Favorite cartoon. Ooh.
You could do cartoon and anime as well.
Cartoon anime. I love sports anime, man. It might be could be Ace of the Diamond.
Classic. What about regular cartoon?
Regular cartoon. I like the old school '90s. Maybe X-Men. X-Men 90s.
Yeah, that's
Morph.
That's legit. Best video game of all time.
Best video game of all time, man. Shoot. Probably WCW versus NWO Revenge.
Hey Lewis, this one's Lewis is tailored for you. Who's your favorite possum?
Goofy movie.
Oh, come on, man. Goofy movie. What are you talking about?
Who's your favorite possum, man? You should know.
Who's your favorite possum?
There it is. Who is it? Who is it? What's his name?
I don't know. He didn't have a name.
Bad. Lester, man. All right, cool.
Lester? I couldn't understand the look. She was like, yeah. That's all I heard.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was his name.
Who is the worst fantasy player in basketball to you?
Of all time?
You could do both.
Jeez.
Had
You know
a couple.
what?
You had a
Yeah,
couple.
you had a couple misses.
I'm saying with his sidekicks, he's had a couple.
My
Oh,
sidekicks were great, man. I don't know what you're
Right.
talking about, bro. Probably worst fantasy asset is I don't know, man. I feel like saying Ghostbusters because I don't know.
What?
Ghostbusters.
All right. What's your fantasy rating in Yahoo, Lewis?
It's a bronze. What are you laughing at, man? You got a bronze too.
I know, it's just funny, man.
Why, hey, Lewis, why is your rating so low?
Because back in the day, man, when I was new into fantasy basketball,
10 years ago, okay.
yeah, I was getting ripped off by clowns like you who would offer me deals, and then like I would actually, they're like, oh no, that's not a good trade, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, you guys were all up in my ear. You guys were a bunch of scam and rip-off artists. You still are.
Man,
But I learned from my mistakes, though.
what did Ray had a crazy pick? That might be. He had picks. Might have been
Reggie, it was probably Reggie Wayne.
it was something crazy you picked up in like the second or third round. Man, go on, Starks.
Lewis, favorite food?
Favorite food?
Yeah.
Chinese food.
That's good. What type of Chinese food?
Nice.
I like the what's it called? Sesame chicken, man.
Oh yeah.
Sesame chicken combo with vegetables.
Pork fried rice.
10 minute.
Pork fried
Yeah,
rice.
15 minute. No, 10
10
minute. 10, 15 minute.
All right, Lewis, why is God good to you, man?
Oh man, God is excellent. He's good to me, man, because honestly I'd be dead without him, man. He's been so good to me, man. Even times where I haven't been good to myself or not thinking about him, I know he's thinking about me, and he loves everyone, man. And that's why he gave his son for us, and he died. His son died for us.
Awesome. Now, I know you like DC better, so I'll do DC for you. If you're a DC character, who would you be? Would it be Bane because you have that mask, or you should probably take it off because you're a joke, or who would be DC person?
I might as well be Bane, man, because I got the mask on. I was born in the darkness, Batman. Feel the venom.
Or the job.
I wouldn't be the Joker. Feel the venom.
Two different things.
Who's your favorite fantasy player now?
My favorite fantasy player right now would be probably G. Hay. I love the I love stories from people overcome, and just to see what he's done and overcome and be back the way he is right now is probably G. Hay.
Okay.
He lost that right. He's mine now.
So you talked about your favorite player in the past. You keep talking about Ray Allen. We get it. Have you won a fantasy championship in basketball, man?
I got close.
That didn't answer my question.
No, I have not.
Okay. Why?
Well, back in the day, I was more football heavy, and I didn't care about basketball as much.
Okay.
And then I already, mentioned you guys being a bunch of scam and rip-off artists on top of that. And there was, in one of those leagues, there was an asterisk where, so something just kind of didn't line up. I'm not going to say I would have won that, LT, but,
I'm going to steal the rock real quick on that one, Starks. I'm going to steal the rock real quick. Because Ray forgets that, when you're with people a lot, you tend to start doing things they do. I remember specifically, you know what made me remember? Chinese food. We were at a Chinese food restaurant, and we heard a little inkling that Tim Duncan just got injured.
Ooh,
and you remember this?
Hey,
yeah, stop.
hey,
No.
Okay.
All right, Tim Duncan got injured, right? And actually, there was a trade between one of our other competitors called Abe. Abe had offered a trade for Tim Duncan earlier in the day or week or whatever. So as soon as Ray heard the clippings, heard the fresh about Tim Duncan's injury, he ran and made a trade for Tim Duncan with Abe. We were in the Chinese shop waiting for food. I remember it vividly. He ran over to his phone. He's like, "Hey man," I was like, "Where you going, Ray? I gotta take care of something real quick." Went out the Chinese store, called Abe, made the trade. And then we came back, and I think y'all reversed it, or no?
No,
No, it rolled exactly.
Hey, did I break the rules?
No, you didn't break. You didn't break the rules.
We were all out as brothers having a conversation, and I took this information. But you're a hypocrite because you did the same thing with that Russian guy. With me, we were talking about that Russian dude. I don't remember that dude's name, man. But
Perfect.
We were talking about him, and you sit up there and did the same thing. I was like, oh man, this guy's in the waiver wire. Oh really? Oh, that's interesting. He dropped me off. This before I had a car, and then I looked in the free in there, and the guy he swiped up just like that. I was like, man, you dirty man.
Hey man,
hey, it's all good opportunity, man.
I just want to make sure you are aware that you also joined us in those deadly deals.
No,
just remember that.
Okay, man. Hey, man.
Yeah. Hey, you were part of the chain gang too.
Well, you get thrown into a kettle with a bunch of rabid dogs. You do what you have to do to survive, even if it means becoming like them.
There we go. That's what I want to hear.
Deep down inside, I'm not like them, though.
That's
man.
what I want to hear.
I did what I had to do to survive.
There you go.
Adapt to your surroundings.
Sounds like a snake move.
Ooh.
Oh man, Shalom, you're the king. You're the king of ripping people, throwing bad trades at people, man. You're the king. You're like Stark's son from the future, man.
I definitely got from you.
You took a ride in a DeLorean. Took a ride in a DeLorean to come back in time to compete with great legends as ourselves.
You said the Avengers?
Yeah, but no. Okay, we're getting off. Go ahead. Questions.
All right. You're failing poorly in this 24 shot.
Hey, man, it depends on eye of the beholder, man.
All right, cool.
Maybe in White Knight's eyes, I'm succeeding.
Absolutely, brother. 100.
All right, Lewis. On a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you prepare for a draft?
Does it matter what day it is? I give myself a 2.
If you guys are at YouTube, check out LT's finger. That's the only thing you need to see. All right, perfect.
I give myself a 2, man, because
1. What 2? Oh yeah, sure. What 10 minutes, right? Yeah, I guess 2 seems about right.
If you cram, I think it should be both subject.
So, in saying that, can you go ahead and explain to the listeners your style and why you do that?
I don't know, man. It's just something about I get a rush from draft day, the day of, and then I'm just going in, I'm just cramming, and I'm looking up whatever information, because depending on how your style is, if you overanalyze things, you're gonna be like, okay, I'm grabbing this guy, and preparing. It's good to do some kind of preparing, but people get scatterbrained when they're like, okay, I'm getting this person this time, and then they end up getting yoked up and get grabbed, and they start panicking because they don't have. I've already prepared myself for that because I'm already in the heat of battle, and my heart's already rushing, so I don't get freaked out if I got to grab someone in a little bit of time. That makes sense.
Oh, yeah.
When you start losing bad in fantasy, do you tank, Lewis?
No.
Okay. Is tanking bad, Lewis?
Terrible. It's terrible. It's awful. I remember, I think LT for PG, he tanked maybe like two weeks in, maybe like a weekend.
What?
It wasn't that. It
was severe tank.
It was not
I know he quit. He quit like the first month in, man. He was like,
no,
okay.
it wasn't.
He was like, I give up.
That.
I give up. He was like, I give up. Oh, yeah, PG-13 next year.
That.
All right, Lewis. What's a championship mean to you, Lewis?
It means bragging rights. It means I can look at the guy that I can't stand and tell him, you're a bum. Hey, you're gonna lose to me, Shalom. It's me getting just living in the moment like Kevin Hart, man. When he ran down there like a drunken fool and wanted to kiss the trophy, and when his Philadelphia Eagles won. That's what it means to me.
Lewis, look in the camera for me.
Am I looking in the camera? Can you see me?
Doesn't seem like it.
Okay, there we go.
There you go.
Are you a closer?
Am I a closer?
Are you a closer?
I get the job done. Sometimes. Sometimes.
That's the question.
I'm not a closer according to Starks' standards of being a closer, but I pull a lot of upsets, and I'm proud of what I do.
Awesome.
I know you guys are behind me.
You did better at the end, kind of. You still, I would expect it a little bit better. Not too bad. Kid, yep. I'm ready for you, Jake. I'm sure he's gonna have some good gold stuff come out of his mouth here momentarily. Kid, so What's the best movie to you and why, man?
Fast and Furious. any Fast and Furious.
Damn it.
I just like the competition. I'm
Awesome.
trying to,
Vin Diesel can't act.
get the bad guys.
Awesome. Worst moment in your life, man.
When I lost to Ray.
I like that.
Football though.
Oh, it's gonna happen again, man. Deja vu.
best moment in your life.
When I beat Ray.
Or are you talking about like in?
NBA player you wish you could meet.
Probably like it. I'll probably pick Ron.
Okay. All right. Best player in the next 3 years in fantasy.
I want to say
Favorite show? Cartoon? Best video game of all time.
I'm beast. So I like Ryan.
Who's the worst fantasy player to you?
Have him come closer to the mic.
Who's
All right.
yeah, put that right. Who's the worst fantasy player to you, man?
You, like in the NBA or
Fantasy in particular.
Lewis.
You're trash.
Did you hear that, Lewis?
Fantasy, as far as like players go, that's
That I've picked up before.
yeah.
James Ennis. It was the Dynasty League though. The Dynasty.
Oh, yeah.
What's your favorite food?
Taco.
Nice.
What's your fantasy rating in Yahoo?
Platinum.
That's a farce.
Did you hear that, Ray?
Hey,
I said platinum.
hey, man, playing your little high school friends that's a whole different thing, man. Don't let Yahoo lie to you, man. You play in the majors now with the big boys.
You got
With
it
the
pretty
big boys
high.
now.
You got it pretty high in a short time span there, kid. How did you do that?
By hard work.
You mean stealing from people?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
That's why you were stuttering, because you know I'm telling the truth.
Okay. Why is God good to you, man?
Cause I wouldn't be here without him.
Amen.
What's your favorite fantasy player now?
Now, you have to be LUKA.
Okay.
LUKA.
Nice.
Have you won a championship in fantasy? In any fantasy league?
No,
And you won't either, you bum.
I've only played for 2 years.
Don't worry, I'll keep blocking your shots.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you prepare before a draft starts?
Probably an 8.
Okay. What goes into your studying into the draft?
Probably. I don't know how to really explain this. Probably just looking at different players and seeing the categories of what I want and what player provides that for me.
Okay. When you start losing bad in fantasy, do you tank?
No,
Is tanking bad?
it's atrocious. Terrible.
Atrocious. I like that word. Something we can agree on.
Terrible.
What's a championship mean to you, man?
It's everything.
Well, look at you. Are you a closer?
Always.
I'll always be close.
Hey, you will never close me.
Hey, Ray, I'm coming.
Hey, I want that to be. Hey, let me look at the camera. You will never. You will lose.
Awesome.
You look like
Old school
you
Mortal Kombat.
you look like a budget Sub-Zero. I was just about to say.
That's why I'm thinking back to old school Mortal Kombat.
You're the button.
You will lose.
All right,
Brother's
Jake.
soul is mine.
All right, Jake. The White Knight. You're the chosen one, man.
Do it.
Best movie and why?
Tommy Boy, just because it's a classic comedy and classic Farley.
You talking about that fat guy that was
That guy-
dancing
that guy
on
logo?
what's that dude's name? You know, the fat goofy dude
Chris Farley,
that died.
right?
Chris,
Yeah, okay. Sorry,
Chris
I don't think
Farley,
I've seen that movie.
So
No
good.
disrespect to him. I'm sorry. You know.
No, you're good. It's classic.
All right, worst moment in your life, man.
Suggesting Lori Markkinen to all of our listeners.
Sorry, man. There's
Sorry.
redemption for you, my friend. I still believe. White Knight,
Thanks.
I believe.
What's
I
the
do
best
too.
moment? What's the best moment in your life?
I gotta go. I gotta go the sappy route of LT. You know, like when I was married and the day that my daughter was born.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Did you cry?
NBA.
Absolutely, I did.
Awesome. NBA player you wish you could meet.
Easy, Vince Carter.
Lori Markkinen.
Vince Sanity. No, I don't want to be Lori Markkinen. I would have great things to say. Vince Carter, man, he's been my favorite player my whole life.
Nice. Who's the best player the next 3 years in fantasy?
You know, I've been hearing a lot of Giannis, and so I got to switch it up. I got to go with LUKA DONCIC. I think he's just going to be a wrecking ball for at least the next 5 to 10 years.
Nice. Favorite show?
The Office.
Yes.
Oh, I forgot about the Office.
Yeah,
Dude,
I
that's up
forgot
there.
about
That's
that.
up there too.
I haven't seen enough episodes.
Favorite cartoon?
You know, I don't watch many cartoons. I think the last cartoon I watched was Doug. So I'm gonna have to go with Doug.
Classic. That's
Eater. Yeah, dude.
best video game of all time.
You know, all this talk about Donkey Kong Country, I gotta go with Donkey Kong Country, and or Madden.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
it.
Who's the worst fantasy player to you in the league, you think?
Lori Markkinen. What are you gonna say, kid?
I was gonna say Ray, but it's okay.
Hey,
Oh,
man,
right.
you don't want this. You don't want these hands, man. You don't want these fantasy hands.
All right. What's your fantasy rating in Yahoo there, Jake?
It's a diamond, and I just earned
Oh,
that
the ace of the diamond.
recently.
Just earned
So,
Congratulations.
Nice, man.
Hey,
Thank-
man, thanks for the real rating. Shalom's is kind of, you know,
the real rating.
Oh,
thanks for a real diamond rating. You know?
is this coming from a bronze player?
Ooh, my
Oh.
goodness.
Is this coming from a bronze?
Motivation to get up there.
Hey, man, Yahoo rankings mean nothing to me. They're a lie.
Diamond rating is the highest. I know next is platinum and then gold, silver, and bronze. So yeah, to earn that diamond rating, good job. That's not an easy feat, by the way.
Thank you, brother.
All
Sick.
right. And how did it get so high?
I've been playing, at least fantasy basketball, I've been playing for at least the last 10 years. Fantasy football, it's been the last like 15 years, but for like the last 10 years. So, I mean, some of that can be attributed to longevity, but I mean, I have, and I'll say this later, I have over 10 titles in like 10 years, and like I usually join like 2 to 3 a year. So, you know, a lot of research, a lot of moves for sure.
Wow.
Yeah.
What's your favorite food?
All things barbecue.
I thought he was gonna say Olive Garden.
Olive Garden is definitely a little bit lower on the list.
No, just because he was like, never mind. Go ahead.
True.
Why is God good to you, man?
How is he not? I mean, he's delivered me from so much evil, and he's also, you know, like he's been with me from state to state to state, you know, like mental state and physical states. You know, like I've been through a lot of states here, and he's just been with me every step of the way. Someone said, I think it was LT, you know, like he's felt like your friend, and he truly does feel like my friend, you know, like he's blessed me with incredible friends and family and support. So he has absolutely been good to me.
Awesome, man. Your favorite fantasy player now?
Lori Markkinen.
Lori Markkinen always. I fantasy player, man, I think I would go with Blake Griffin, the past. Not right
The
now.
past.
But like,
Well, you talk
Griffin,
about the Blake Griffin that had the jetpack on, like Fly Games. He was like flying in the
exactly.
commercial.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
For now,
I-
that was a past player. That's good. What's the now player?
oh, okay.
That's
Okay.
both of them. You answered one. That's fine.
Okay. I mean, okay. So yeah. I'll just go with this with Blake Griffin as a past player. Just because I remember in his second year, which was technically his rookie year because he missed his whole first year, he came at a discounted price, and I got him in one of the later rounds, and he led me right to that championship. So he will always be one of my favorite players.
Nice. Have you won a championship, and how many? You just kind of
But I've won somewhere between 10 and 15 championships throughout my fantasy basketball career.
Okay.
Yeah.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you prepare for a draft?
I'd say somewhere probably around 8 or 9. I take it seriously, and I don't do a ton. So I do some mock drafts, as well as I just do a lot of research, and I look at the current players' opportunity and see, like, that's where I take risk, is when I see like the opportunity, like who left, who has next. So I just do a lot of research.
Nice, man. When you start losing bad, do you tank?
No, I don't tank.
Oh, so there's only one guy that tanks in there, huh?
Strictly because, like, I don't want to lose my rating on Yahoo.
Yeah.
I want to keep building that up. So I fight to the finish. That is motivation enough for me. I just want to build up that rating. So no, I don't tank. And your next question is it wrong?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes life gets in the way. I understand. But if you do commit to something, you should see it through. But usually that's not everyone's mindset. Now in Dynasty, if you tank, you're trying to tank for the number 1 pick. You're gonna get punished. So
Yeah. What about pre-planned tanking?
Pre-planned tanking, it's definitely a thing, man.
Sometimes you want as many lottery balls as you can get, right?
Right. Yeah. And that comes with, maybe you didn't start your best player, but your lineup was full, but you didn't have your best players in, like you took out some players. That's you still started your players. That's a form of tanking, which can slide, but it's definitely not right.
Tanks,
It's a form.
Tanks. Hey, there are all different types of tank tops. Crop tops. Hey, when you got the crop top out, man, it's that Ezekiel Elliott, man. It doesn't feel good.
Hey, none of them are appealing to look at, though.
What's a championship mean to you, man?
Being that bum Shalom.
Championship just means gratification. It feels good to have done all this research, and that all of your gut calls came through on the track. So it's gratifying.
Nice. I'm gonna look at you in the camera too. Are you a closer?
The ABC, always be closing.
There it is. Yes.
Always
yes.
close.
Always be drinking coffee like an addict.
What's that time frame, LT? I know we're close on that mark, because I'll go through these as quickly as possible.
We're almost at 2:30. We're at 2:18.
Wow. Really?
Yeah, that's a couple minutes above, because I've recorded 5 minutes before, but yeah.
I'll try to go through these as quickly as possible. So for me, best movie and why?
Yeah.
Gosh, I was gonna probably say Forrest Gump. Why? It's just an original
Because life's
classic.
like a box of chocolates.
Right.
Worst moment in my life. I would say I failed one of my tests here when I was getting my license insurance. Lewis kind of knows. So real quick, I try not to take so much time for these.
You're fine,
but it was one of those. It felt like a movie. They put you in a room. They got all these cameras on you because they want to avoid any person to cheat. and you only got to get a 70 to pass. But the test is like everything that I studied wasn't on the test. It was just really different. But honestly, they have an instructor to come in every 10 minutes, like hovering around you. Like, it's like no joke. And there's like a few people taking the test in and out, can't say a word, got to take off your watch, take off your phone, your belt, everything. It's almost like you're about to get on a plane. There's just so many things. You guys are familiar with Naruto, the tuning exam. That's exactly what it felt like. Right?
You were Naruto, huh?
Right. So there was no gimmicks that you could do. It's not that I was trying to do anything, but it just felt uncomfortable, right? And then when they fail you, it's like they want you to fail because they know that you can make a good earnings in life, right? And I remember when I looked at the test, and you have to stop by and talk to the individual. It's almost like I seen a grin on her face because she hoped that I failed, right? In a sense, it's like, dang, I sucked. And just praying to the Lord, like, Lord, you said I would pass. I believe that in my spirit, and you said I would pass. So what I did was, I got out of my emotions. I prayed to the Lord again, and lo and behold, I passed the second time. So I'm thankful for that, to get my license in that.
Nice.
So that could be the best moment of my life is getting saved, right? Sincere. And what I mean by that is, people can say, oh, I believe in Christ. I get it. People can say, oh, I'm a Christian, but to really have that lifestyle, I think that's really important, to have that perspective in your life, right? Because you need that. There's going to be down days. People don't tell you think it's going to be golden roses and rainbows on the other side, but no, you got to go through this walk too and keep it positive, right? Because you're going to be tempted, you're going to be fought at the same time. So there's a lot of things to keep in mind, but I would say getting saved and really receiving Christ in my life. NBA player I wish I could meet. Man, I guess Grant Hill. He's just one of my original guys that I love back in the day. I've had some of his Fila shoes, so that nostalgia of having that and playing basketball back in the day. So yeah, Grant Hill, best player the next 3 years. I would have said Towns, but unfortunately, with all this stuff going on now, it doesn't seem to be the case. But it could change. LUKA seems like the right guy over Greek Freak, but that's still close. It could be anybody, but I think maybe I would just say LUKA the next 3 years. He's 20 years old. Favorite show, The Office. Just that's just to me fun. Yeah. Favorite cartoon anime. I guess almost Naruto. Or actually, might be the regular show. Honestly, there's a lot of good cartoons in a sense. Best video game of all time. I mean, it could be like GoldenEye, or I can even say Smash Brothers 2. Who's the worst fantasy player? Man, gosh. If I would, what's funny? I would have said Ingram if he would have still had the same year, but it's not Ingram, obviously, right? Worst fantasy player.
Brandon Jennings.
Ooh, thank you, LT. That is a great one, Brandon Jennings.
He was on my thought process too with Luis Scola.
That is good. Thank you for that alley-oop there, LT. Yes, I'll say Brandon.
Brandon. Hey man, where's my alley-oop at, you bum?
Favorite, or what's your fantasy rating? A diamond rating? I haven't seen anybody over 1,000 but myself, so I take that with a badge of honor. But anybody that has a diamond rating, that is a serious feat to have. Why is my rating so high? Well, 10 years of fantasy, I put the time in. I used to be a person of, I used to put a lot of work in. It was an obsession to a point that I wanted to be great at it, because anything that I do that I enjoy, I put the full work into it. And that's why I had to retire from video games in a sense, because I was good at it, but it took some of my life away, right? But fantasy, I'm able to kind of balance it in a sense a little bit better. So that's why favorite food might have to be like a Japanese steakhouse or breakfast. I love breakfast at any time, man. I love eating breakfast at night. Eggs, turkey sausage or turkey bacon.
Me too,
I can go on, and eggs and
pork, man.
potatoes.
No pork.
No pork. Swine, my brother. Why is God good to me? He's good in so many ways. I wouldn't be where I'm at today if it wasn't for him. I could juice the orange on Christ and for the longest time, but I know this is a basketball podcast, but you guys know as New Life, we love Christ here. We are faith believers. So
you can juice the orange and it'll never run dry.
It can never run dry. If you were a Marvel character, I guess, of course, it's Iron Man. We know that. Favorite fantasy player now? Man.
Miles
Ray
Turner.
Allen.
No, it ain't Miles Turner.
Ray Allen.
Jonathan Isaac.
Oh, I guess it has to be Harden. I've always liked Harden, right?
Oh, man.
The
Shut up,
flop
Starks.
artist, man. Shut up.
Hey, LT, you know about that Harden.
Why we
that
could have went one podcast without bringing that guy's name up.
Flopping all over the place like a
It has to be
darn-
Harden. I hold
Call him
Harden
a magic cart, man.
just to go ISO rant on that too. LT knows I've been a proponent of Harden since the OKC days, coming off the bench. I remember my rookie season drafting with LT. To the listeners, if you don't know, LT is the one that introduced me to fantasy. Honestly, this podcast, he's been kind of the guy running the puppet strings behind everything. I wouldn't be where I'm at if it wasn't for God and LT for this, in particular in fantasy basketball, because my rookie season, Harden, he came off the bench. I drafted him in the 3rd round. And he was like, you drafted your boy. And what's crazy is when I drafted him that year, what I remember so strongly is Harden got traded to the Rockets. Or not traded, but he signed with the Rockets, free agent. And lo and behold, everything else is history. The number 1 fantasy player, bar none. Other players can obviously battle him, but right now it's Harden still. Favorite fantasy player in the past?
Jeremy Lin. The Yellow Mamba.
Hey man, it could be Danger Granger, but I will say.
Oh no!
I could say Danger Granger, but maybe. Oh no, it's Agent Zero. Yes, Gilbert Arenas.
AK-47.
It has to be Agent Zero.
Cool, man.
Gilbert Arenas, right? So
Oh, Karolinko? Is that the other guy? AK-47?
AK-47.
yeah. Hey, good one. Have I won a championship in fantasy? Yes, you bet I have.
Yeah.
How many? Honestly, it's 20 plus. If you include ESPN, it's 20 or more. On a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you prepare for a draft? Nowadays, it's like a 7. It used to be 10. It used to be. I just can't do it anymore.
It used to be 20 for him. Starks, he was obsessed.
Yeah, I guess if it was over 10 scale.
That was overkill.
What goes into your studying and style of play? Just relentless, man. I think it comes to the. I'm just going to be honest. It's like a Mamba mentality in a sense. I really took everything. I don't take it with the grain of salt. I'm all in. I mean, LT knows. Everybody in New Life knows that when I do something, I'm all into it. And I'm going to do the best I can, whether I fail or do good at it. That's my studying. I do the clippings like LT. Mock drafts, I know that's not Lewis's components. I know Lewis makes fun of that. I don't do that anymore, but I used to do mock drafts just like what Jacob said too. You like to see the players fall. You want to see how your league is, right? I focus on the league. I look at the weaknesses and the strengths of the league. No matter how strong you are in the league and how weak you are in the league, I'm going to look at the weak opponents too in my league and see what not to do, and see the strong opponents, see what they do and what's successful, but incorporate my own stuff to have my own logic.
I'll take that one out of your book. I like that.
When you start losing bad in fantasy, do you tank? No, I don't tank. Is tanking bad? Yeah, it's bad.
Hey, you bet it is.
But I will say this: tanking when it comes to the Dynasty format, it's a little bit different, right?
Absolutely.
It could be in a sense, is there any rules behind that? Is tanking okay? Because in one of my Dynasty formats, there is a rule: if you tank, you'll pay the price for it, right? Mm-hmm. But I don't think tanking is good. But if your league warrants it, yeah, I mean, it's okay to tank. But it's, for me, stone cold. I just don't tank. It's not in my blood. What's a championship mean to me? Everything. It means everything. Mm-hmm. Because it shows you that regardless, you're going to either be liked or be the villain. In my cases, I'm going to be the villain in my league. I used to take people for rides. That's, take trades that people wasn't fans of. I took it back. I could have
he was spiking people's drinks out there, man. As soon as he would invite people into the league, man, already scheming in his mind how to rip them off because they were new.
And you know what's fun?
Dirty pool, mister. Dirty pool.
You know what's funny though? Like, although I brought people in the league, people that brought people in the league, I've done trades with them too, and a lot of people were surprised. Like, how did you do that? I just have experience negotiating for years. I mean, I probably could go with my collection background.
He used to be a collector.
Used to be a bill collector, right? That too.
He's a car salesman.
But I told the honest truth behind that. So
car salesman.
Whatever. But again, a championship, yeah, it means like everything, because it shows who people want to be, right? And like I said, whether you like the person or you don't, you have something to look forward to. I mean, I hold it dear. Like, I've won the redraft format. I don't think I'm going to win this year, but I won 4 years in a row in that league. That's not easy to do, right? I don't care what people think. Oh, people say you're in a taco league. No, there's experts in that league too, even throughout the years. Now, the biggest, I was undefeated in a Dynasty format last year. I didn't lose. I remember my first year going back, the ISO ran a little bit. Kind of reminds me of Shalom a little bit, the kid. Is he had such a successful year. I was undefeated that year. LT knows. LT buried me in that league, but that pushed me harder. When LT won that year, that's how much harder that I wanted to work to be better at what I can do, right? LT is always going to be a rival of mine, and he pushed me to get to that next level and next step. And again, that's why I have to juice that orange, because I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for him. The site would not be here if it wasn't for Jacob Lewis. I wouldn't be here if he wouldn't still egg me on with the stuff that he's put fire under me. The kid has been a big contributing to this, because it reminds me of myself of what he's going to be.
Yeah, he's not that yet though. So until that happens, man, you sit down in your little car booster seat and let the big boys talk. All right.
So am I a closer to kind of round things off? I believe I'm a closer. ABC, always be closing, right? It's important to close because it shows, like I said, who you are. You can say I'm an addict, Lewis, but I will say this. Get your championship and then come talking to me, because it's been 10 years, right?
Hey, man. I still got football. I still got football over you, boy.
If we have time,
hey, don't stick your chest out. I still got football over you.
If we have like 5 or 10 more, about 5 or 10 more minutes, let's just do a segment where we just ran on each other. Is that okay, guys? Or not?
Hey, I'm here.
Hey, man, there's no need for that, man. Shalom won't have it. He's already out of bullets, man.
What?
We're not even done yet. Shalom's out of bullets, man. So there's no need for that.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, it's funny. It's kind of ironic. That year I beat Starks his first year in. I was like, yeah, guys, we were all going to support ministries, and I was like, man, it'll be fun for fellowship, brothership, is to get into this fantasy sports, man. And it's been fun. I've been having fun with it, and it's with dudes that I met.
Oh, there were definitely ups and downs.
And it was fun. It was fun.
There were some
but
ups and
everything
downs.
when it comes to a group of 10 or more males, you're gonna get some competitive juices flowing, man. So it's going to end up like that, no matter where you're at, what type of thing you're doing.
We'll basically say it's like Gotham City, man. You're gonna see some dirt out there in Gotham. And he's the mayor.
Well, the first season is funny because the first season, I don't think I did anything too dirty. The first season, the only thing that people can question is I got a good trade off for John Wall that year, and it really propelled me to win that championship that year. I did not have. If I did not make that trade, I probably would have lost the start.
What about when that guy, dropped his player and then miraculously, who was it? Rajon Rondo. Someone dropped Rajon Rondo, and then they went and complained to you about dropping him, and you let him have it back on his team.
Hey man, I was just to let people know too. I was the original GM or the owner, the one that was running that league.
I know it's kind of like UFC though. The rules, were a little different back then.
I was very just, and I tried to give everybody, because I wanted everyone to have fun, right? But sooner or later you realize that you gotta let boys be boys, and you gotta let them the men fight it out. Yeah, so it was fun. It was fun. It was definitely fun. I think that one of my fondest memories, and I'll never forget these, is we used to do 4-way conversations. It would be me, Starks, Ray, and our friend Abe, and we used to be on the phone just talking fantasy basketball for like hours. It was absolutely crazy, and that was like our night. That was like our Friday night strategies, making dumb trades, doing stupid. That was our nights, man. And that was fellowship to me back in those days. I meant everything. So that's some of the best memories I remember from it, for sure.
All right, so before we get to the clutch shots, because I know we're super in overtime, I forgot we need to do the last segment on what does it actually take to win a championship? I'm going to give an ultimate cheat code, and I want everybody else to, put their thought process before I give mine out, how to win the league. Jacob, do you have a little bit more time on your hands, or?
Sure.
Okay. So I'll actually start you off there, Jacob. How do you win a fantasy league?
It's 100% just staying in it all year, every day. It's a grind, and if you are proactive and try to swing for those upside ads, then it could pay off. Like winning isn't a casual thing that you can just, I'm going to check my team every once in a while. Well, all your other league mates are scooping up all this upside while you aren't, you're either busy or you just don't want to put that much effort into it. It takes effort. It takes grit. It takes looking at your team every day, maybe a few times a day, and looking at those headlines on all those websites to say, like, who's injured, who can I pick up. So it's all about the grind. So you have to be in it every day.
Nice. Kid, do you what's your logic of winning a championship?
I mean, Jacob basically said it all, but it takes hard work and determination at the end of the day. And I feel like to win a championship, you really have to have your mind in it and not overthink things. Because sometimes, like in your first year, say you're a rookie, you tend to overthink things sometimes. Mm-hmm. So I feel like sometimes you just need to slow it down and take your time and take advice from the best fantasy players you know.
True that.
Lewis.
Let me go ahead and say this. To win a championship, even though I haven't won one yet in NBA, it just depends. First of all, what kind of league you're in. If you're in a soft, powder puff league like Shalom probably was in it, get your rating up there.
The same league as you.
It's gonna be easy, But like depending on how competitive your league is, man, you're gonna have to think out the box. You're gonna have to be in the waiver wire. You're gonna have to observe your team, like Stark says. You're gonna have to even if it's not daily, maybe you're not into the clippings daily. Make sure you have your notifications on. So like maybe you missed a basketball game or whatever. As soon as the game's over, maybe you were busy that day, you couldn't watch a basketball game. Look at the clippings and tally up the scores and see who did good, and then go check the waiver wire. So I say the biggest thing would be your biggest advantage could be the waiver wire. And if you're not good at drafting, but if you have mad drafting skills, you still want to go to the waiver wire.
LT?
Yeah, everything that everybody said was right on, so I'm gonna just add another aspect to it. Know who you are and what your team is. That's important. One of the things that I got too caught up with is what Starks was doing. Some seasons I was so caught up on what Starks was doing, I wasn't just sticking to my guns and just being who I am as a fantasy player. So just remember to always, don't worry about Starks. Starks is going to be Starks, right? Some of your competitors are going to get trades off. They're going to get perennial superstar players for scraps on the dollar. And sometimes you're going to have to deal with that. But you never know what can happen on any given day, any given week.
Any given Sunday.
Or Sunday, that's part of the week. You could... You can. I know you can win. You can win even against those type of teams. There's positives and negatives to everything. So just keep who you are. If you're a waiver wire draft like me who puts a lot of time into drafting, that's your MO. Stick to your guns, man. Believe in who you are and go forward from there. But that's all I got.
So I wanted to prepare for this. I'm sorry I did not. What I mean by that, I was going to give the ultimate cheat code, but I'll kind of just say, let me see if I can, I don't know if I can share my screen. Can you guys see my screen?
Yeah.
Not the one. Not the one you're. Not on your computer right now.
Oh, you don't see it on the computer?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, let me just go ahead and just say this. Dang, I wish I could have shown it. I'll just kind of give you guys a quick breakdown of this. It's pretty simple. The ultimate cheat code that I wanted to touch up on this year that I've never shared, this is new to all you guys too, even to you, LT.
Here we go.
I knew about this actually my rookie year, and this is something I've held dear to this for years in fantasy. And the thing is, the reason why I'm giving it out because I know my regression is real this year for sure. It's absolutely real. It's because I can't invest the time as I used to in fantasy. Particularly, can you guys see my face by the way, or faces by the way?
Yeah, we can see you.
Okay. Or for some reason, it didn't seem like okay. But kind of closing up to what I was trying to say here is, I put little hints and glimpses of what it takes to win, and the kid can see what I'm doing, and this is going to help him for the future. There's a thing on our site on newlifefantasy.com. If you scroll to the bottom of the footer, there is something that is a subliminal thing that you can utilize under your discretion. Now, I'm not a proponent of people about gambling because I don't believe in gambling, but I know there's some people that do. Obviously, I'm not against it, but I just don't believe in that. And if someone wants to win, and honestly, a lot of people in the industry does this, they don't talk about it as much because they want to win. I've seen it in leagues that I've been in that people know about this, but obviously they held it to their vest and they didn't share it. They accidentally put it up, and some people just don't care and they just do it anyway. And it's not nothing wrong to do. It's not cheating either, by the way. So anyways, longer story short, what it is, the glimpses, remember when we talked about steal rate, LT, and Jacob all through these podcasts and stuff of that nature?
Mm-hmm.
We know the average this year, it's about 1.1 steals this year. That's when you're in the green. One steal is not, it's pretty, you could say essentially good enough, but it's barely there. The steal rate has gone up, right, at 1.1. So these are the averages I'm going to give you guys quickly. I wish I could show it on YouTube, but I can't. It's not allowing me to show it. But 16 points is the green. Rebounds, 6 is the green. 3.4 assists the green. 1.1 steals, 76% free throw percentage. And I'll leave it there. I know Lewis is snoozing over there. It's like this mattered to him, but that's fine. I understand that.
Yeah,
this is more the technicality of things. So what am I getting at? You're like, Stark, stop beating around the bush. What are you saying? What I'm saying is this. You can take this certain formula and you can create an Excel spreadsheet. You could utilize everybody's team. When everybody drafts, even at the same time when they're drafting, you can basically every player that they draft, you can put the player in and automatically put their stats in. And what I mean by that, it shows automatically what their stats is going to be for the rest of the season. So you can balance against a team who you could beat and who the best team is. You can rank it out. I'm sure maybe Jacob is familiar with it. LT, you might even be familiar with it. But you can basically, every person you draft can automatically be adjusted to each person's team. You can see what they're strong in, what they're weak in, and you can bat against them that way. So if you're seeing a team that's strong in points in a 9-category league, you can go complete opposite. Blocks and steals. You can just strictly aim at that and beat your league. I know it's not a beautiful thing. You could beat a league, 5-4. You can straw that mentality, technicality, 6-3. As long as you win the categories, that's all that matters. Them, right? Nothing else matters. It's all about winning. And I've seen a lot of GMs and owners do it. Experts don't talk about that a lot because they hold it to their chest. And sometimes they do talk about it, but they really don't, in a sense. But long story shorter, look at the 3-point shots today or this game in fantasy. The average is 1.5 to 1.6 3-pointers a game. What does that tell you? Everybody's shooting 3-point shots. So you don't need to draft people that shoot 3-pointers. You can pick that up from the waiver wire. It's available. Steals and blocks, on the other hand, is different. Blocks is already hard to get. That's why you almost want to put a premium on blocks and steals. That's why I was juicing the orange a little bit more on Isaac, because that's what his component is, so you can understand my terminology with that. So free throw percentage, it goes all across. I mean, like I said, I can go on for days, but we're coming close to the end of the podcast. But longer story shorter, when you draft players, you can create a formula based on how you're built. You can make green and red for bad to show how strong your player is for that category and what they're bad in that category. In the clutch shot, I'll pass you. Well, actually, before we get to the clutch shots, is there anything you guys want to mention on that LT?
No, I'm good.
I never do.
It was hard for me not to fall asleep through all that technical talk.
Yeah, it's definitely.
I got the gist of what you were saying, though. Thank you.
Dang. I like it, Starks.
Nice. LT, any thoughts?
Oh no, yeah, that sounds. I've seen in my browsing of the internet, I've seen different. There's like spreadsheets. There's also things that you can purchase.
Yeah.
That give a huge advantage in fantasy basketball, where people, for money will, pretty much draft your team, run your team, all of the above. So it's one of those things where it's like you could do that, or you could do the work yourself and try to get it done yourself. It's a little bit more satisfying, but there's a lot of things like that out there.
True that.
It's like get a game genie, right? You can either, you can try to win. I think it's always fun to, like you said, LT, to try to win it on your own, and then maybe use like a game genie later on to see how well you could have done. So
nice.
Hey man, sometimes the game genie codes don't work all the time now, right?
Hey, that's true. So clutch shot. I will pass you the ball, kid. Did you have a clutch shot, man?
Yeah, the clutch shot I mentioned earlier in the podcast was it was the Dylan Brooks trade.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, in the trade was Tristan Thompson, Ersan Ilyasova, and a round 2 draft pick for Dylan Brooks in a 3rd round draft pick. How do you guys feel about that, real quick?
I love it. I think especially in a dynasty league, I mean, it's going to be solid for you. Now, in a 20-man league, players that actually have any sort of value are gold here. So I get why the other person would accept that. But Dylan Brooks is the best player by far, and you can look on the waiver to replace those players eventually. So I like the trade for you, kid. I'm a huge Brooks fan, so it was good.
And the person I traded it to was in a win-now situation, so I guess it did make sense for him.
Mm-hmm.
Did that guy need rebounds or something?
I think he did, like, really bad.
Yeah, I bet he did.
Oh, okay.
Unless you could have offered him something.
I'm pretty sure I would have offered him something better than you did.
Oh.
But you didn't.
Wait, what?
I got Dylan Brooks, so.
Hey, I'm not amused at all with that trade.
Yeah. I mean, the trade doesn't sound good on paper,
you're
but
a dirtbag. A dirtbag, and you will be
Can we let LT
dealt
finish?
with.
I think we're done talking.
That's my clutch shot. You will be dealt with.
yeah, I mean, on paper it sounds awful, but situations arise there where different people have different motives. But good pickup on your end, man. That's a good pickup for sure.
Appreciate it. Lewis?
You're trash. That's my clutch shot.
Never mind.
That's my clutch shot.
You're trash, and you're like Starks back when he was a little rat. I mean, Starks is still a little bit of a rat, but he's not as bad anymore. He's like a retired rat. You're a big rat, man.
So what does that make
a big sewer rat, man.
Hey, clown, what does that make you with a mask on?
What?
What does that make you with a mask on?
Hey, man, I'm just out here trying to protect my nose from all the funk.
Well, we want to see those. We want to see those cheeks.
Wait a second.
The fantasy funk, man. That's all I have to say about that, man. But go ahead, White Knight. I'm on the White Knight side, man.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, man. He's a good guy, man. He's not like you guys are dumb.
Lewis, you the man.
LT, what's your clutch shot?
Appreciate you, bro.
Hey, my clutch shot is just it's been a blessing having you brothers all here, man. This is gonna be completely out of left field, but Ray let me down last night in Apex Legends. We were running together with our friend Kalen. This is completely out of left field, but we were running together, and they like to fight a lot. So you know me, I'm the mediator, and so I played support last night, and Ray stopped to loot a gold box while we were in hot pursuit of another team, and I got shot in my back. Man down, hands down, man down. Got destroyed in my back. Ray, and then Ray proceeded to try to, say it wasn't his fault, and eventually came to realization to say sorry. But when I got shot in my back, knowing Ray was behind me, it felt awful.
Yeah, it's my fault though. He never blames Kalen though.
So
it's never Kalen's fault.
So
though.
that's my clutch shot, since he wants to bring G-Hay up all the time. You eat that.
It's never the other guy's fault. It's always my fault, man. I'm used to it, man. They always want to hate on me, man. You know why? Because I've lived my life the underdog. And I rise to occasion. I'm like the phoenix that have risen from the ashes. And I come and I conquer. Oh yeah, and my man over there, he knows. Hey, Shalom. Shalom, you are a bum. Your mentor is a bum. That's mentor and student sitting right next to each other. You're probably going to be a worse version of Starks, but I'm not on my watch. Not on my watch, man. I'll be seeing you.
Wrestling? What is this? What is this?
Exactly.
You're cutting a promo.
WWE
promos.
You're cutting a nice promo. Like, it's funny. Man. Like, you're saying all this stuff, but you're the person that's never won a championship, so I just don't get it. But with that said, Jacob, do you have a clutch shot there, brother?
My clutch shot is that to all of you out there, there's only 3 weeks left before the fantasy basketball playoffs. So all of you who are just getting way ahead into fantasy baseball and even thinking about fantasy football, focus on fantasy basketball. All you have is 3 more weeks to make those playoffs. So, if you own a Marvin Bagley or someone, or like a Rashawn Holmes, and you're fighting for a spot and you don't have an IL spot, you got to think about dropping those people, because it's all about making the playoffs. So just wanted to say, guys, if you didn't grind all season, grind right now for the last 3 weeks and try to make a push.
My clutch shot is I broke Shalom's back last year. I broke his back in the playoffs last year. I'm going to break his back again.
All right, the clutch shot I'm going to take is I just want to thank the team of New Life, everybody joining. I appreciate you guys being patient to do this on this long episode in particular. And to the listeners, thank you guys for supporting from the beginning, for Take a Ride podcast and just New Life in particular. We love doing this, and we thank to the new contributors, Micah and Chris. So guys, check out the new articles done by them. Great content. And again, this site would not be here if it wasn't for the Lord and Jacob. So we appreciate it. LT, like I said, has a big hand. Lewis and Kid has a big hand in this. So fantasy, just like what Jacob said, it's that time. Got to take this seriously.
Yeah.
It's not even really time for speculative ads. It's time to stream and win.
That's right.
Now. So
Starks, I'm gonna hit you with a real clutch shot though, man. Sorry, I got a
please do.
Okay, real clutch shot. I had to review, like, honestly, sometimes life situations get in the way. Me myself, I drafted pretty good this year. I've been hitting the lightning bolt, towards midway the season, but we're starting to get in playoff territory time. So honestly, if I could take it back, I would hop in the DeLorean with Marty and Doc, and I would go back and not just hit the lightning bolt, because I could have bettered my team even more. Make sure you stay active. Activity.
Yep.
Being active. That's the clutch shot, man. Sometimes we have situations that happen in life where, with me, but my job situation was getting on my nerves. But, it's still important to, depending on how important fantasy is to you, man, you want to be active. Activity.
Amen.
Don't just hit the lightning bolt.
All right. So you guys can follow me on my Twitter handle. It's @Starks_industry. You can also find me on Instagram, OneClosingHero. I'll pass you the ball there. Jacob, where can I find you at, man?
You can find me on Twitter @Ain'tDoneYet, and done is spelled DUNNE. I'd love for you guys to follow me and ask me any questions you have, and I'll follow back. Where can they find you, LT?
Yeah, they can find me on Twitter at @SageNetworkX. Remember, guys, the X is silent always.
Nice. Kid, where can they find you at, man?
I'm on Instagram at standout.ss.
Nice.
I'll pass the ball to my little rival over there.
You won't find me on any social media. You'll find me wandering, as I've been wandering the fantasy universe. I show up when I am summoned.
That's right.
That is all.
All right, listeners, we love you so much. God bless you. Have a good evening, morning, afternoon, and take a ride.
Oh, dear.